year off right at Jerome's New Year's clearance event. Going on now.
Give up to 50% off of Jerry's already low prices, like this sofa with our patent Dream seating for just $3.99, or get 2 recliners for just $188.
Going on now.
I did 30 years Army Special Operations. I'm used to this overseas. I've seen what the world has to offer in its worst case, but my neighbors are not ready for this. My family's not ready for this.
You guys all came together through the power of social media.
All of our TikTok viewers, they send us donations through Cash App, Zelle, Venmo. We have heard so many stories. As soon as we give the families a water or a hot dog, they shed in tears because a lot of people, they lost their homes.
Los Angeles has true grit. It has resilience, and it will rebuild, and it will rebuild better than ever.
Good morning and thank you for joining us. It is Friday, January 10th, and we're continuing with our live coverage of the unprecedented fires burning across Southern California. I'm Adrian Arambulo.
And I'm Lynette Romero. We are so glad you're with us and you've stayed with us. From the ocean to the high desert and the foothills, these fires have changed thousands of lives in an instant. Communities have been wiped out. Those families whose homes were spared now have no community to come back to.
Let's get you to the very latest information. This map shows you the major fires that have stretched firefighters so thin, kept them so busy. On Tuesday, the Eden and Palisades fires broke out, prompting a state of emergency. They remain the most destructive fires that LA County has ever seen.
The Palisades fire has burned nearly 20,000 acres along our coast. That is more than 30 square miles. Firefighters are making some progress. It is now 6% contained. The other big fire, the Eden fire, that started in Altadena, and it has burned more than 13,000 acres. There is no containment at this moment. Between both fires, there are 10 fire-related deaths.
The amount of devastation is overwhelming. Entire neighborhoods are wiped out. This is a mind-boggling number. Firefighters believe more than 10,000 homes, businesses, schools, places of worship, other structures have been damaged or destroyed. It is a difficult time for so many people who lost everything. The National Guard has been deployed to support firefighters and law enforcement as they continue to focus on saving lives. And once again, many schools across LA County are closed, once again including the entire LA Unified School District.
Now, we are also keeping a close eye on the Kenneth fire burning in LA and Ventura counties. So far, it is 35% contained, and it has burned 960 acres. Now, this fire started yesterday afternoon north of the 101 freeway near Valley Circle Boulevard. Evacuation warnings are in place for the surrounding area.
We have live team coverage for you this morning from the continued firefight in Pacific Palisades, the arrival and deployment of the California National Guard, and the help that is now pouring in for families who lost everything.
But first, we begin with meteorologist Belen de Leon, who continues to monitor winds. So we're not out of the woods.
No, the winds picked up again yesterday afternoon. They were strong last night and this morning. I've already seen some peak wind reports up to 80 and even 90 miles per hour from this latest round of wind. And this morning, it is a very windy start. It's going to be the windiest period. Here's a look at what's happening right now. Very gusty and what you would expect, those typical Santa Ana wind-prone spots, especially through the Newhall Pass area and over into Ventura County. Gusts right now in the San Fernando Valley close to 30 miles per hour. And look at the gusts over in the Inland Empire, over into Orange County. Also gusts between 20 to up to 30 miles per hour. And our friends over in Hemet are affected as well. But gradually those winds will subside. Check out the hour-by-hour forecast, for example, in Santa Clarita, where this morning it is a windy morning for you. As we get into late this morning, notice how the winds, they drop off from 30 miles per hour to 20 miles per hour. And then eventually those winds will go from gusty to breezy as we head into the early afternoon. But fire danger is still present there and everywhere in Southern California. Although the winds are expected to gradually diminish, those dry conditions will continue, and a red flag warning is in place until 6 p.m. So the potential of more fires growing out of control is certainly there. Also the potential for wind damage and hazardous driving conditions. And here's the last thing I'll leave you with for now. The air quality still being affected. We're going to have very unhealthy air quality ranging from Burbank, the San Fernando Valley, all the way into into the downtown area and into the South Bay. So continue to take those precautions to protect your lungs. I'll be back to tell you what's next, but right now we need to check the drive. Good morning, Robin.
Good morning. It's pretty quiet out there. Light traffic throughout Southern California. So we will continue to go over the closures and highlight the areas to avoid for you related to all the fires that we have burning. For the Palisades fire, the closure is pretty much the same as we've been tracking all week. PCH shut down in both directions. So on the southbound end, it's closed at Malibu Canyon. On the northbound end, they have it shut down at the McClure Tunnel. But also, if you're traveling into and out of the Santa Monica area, keep in mind that West 10 at Lincoln, that traffic's being diverted away from that stretch. So that's going to be blocked off as well. In addition to the 4th and 5th Street on-ramps to the 10, that's closed. And of course, Topanga Canyon is a closure we've been tracking all week. It's all going to be shut down until further notice. Topanga Canyon from PCH all the way over to Mulholland Drive. For those of you traveling into and out of the San Fernando Valley and Sylmar, the Yarnell Street off-ramps from east and west 210 are closed. This is because of the Hearst fire. You also do not have access to those truck routes coming from northbound 5 and for the 14 as well. So trucks will not be able to use those special routes. We want to mention Metro. For those of you hopping on mass transit for the buses and for the trains, they've suspended fares. So it's going to be complimentary for the entire system. So keep that in mind. And the A-Line traveling Southwest Museum, Highland Park, South Pasadena, and Fillmore, the A-Line will be replaced by a free shuttle. They are still working to remove debris and working on some repairs. So plan ahead. We'll talk about more closures coming up. Adrian, back to you.
All right, thank you, Robin. Firefighters were working to contain and put out the Eden fire when it flared up near the summit of Mount Wilson yesterday morning. The peak above the San Gabriel Valley is home to communication towers and equipment for the LA vicinity and the Mount Wilson Observatory. There are no homes in the area, but the flames could be seen near the towers. And in the middle of all this chaos and devastation that we've seen over the past few days, we're now seeing Angelenos and Southern Californians rise up to help each other out.
NBC4's Lauren Coronado is live in Pasadena near the Rose Bowl with a grassroots volunteer effort happening right now. You know, this is exactly, Lauren, what we need right now.
Lynette, Adrian, good morning. It really is. Just getting here warms your heart. I was talking with some of the producers this morning and I said, gosh, I woke up with a heavy heart knowing that so many people have lost so much. But you come here and yeah, you get that sense of community. Just take a look around me. All of the items that have been donated, people dropping off clothes and food. I mean, boxes and boxes of donations from people in the community, all made possible. The distribution, that is, by volunteers like the ones I'm with right now. I have Jade and Crystal who came by to help distribute. Jade, I want to start with you. I know that you got here around 10 o'clock last night. What compelled you to come by and help?
Well, I'm 21. I'm always on social media. I had seen a TikTok on how people were organizing this stuff and volunteering, and I wanted to do something myself. I've been volunteering since in middle school, so I have like 10 years of experience. And, you know, I just can't be in bed not doing anything, especially with the people who I know who live here. It's devastating, and, you know, I got to play my part and help with whatever I can.
Take some action. What was it like when you were talking with the evacuees who came by to pick up some items? Because there's a great need right now.
Yeah, there was so many of them. You know, I could not believe the amount of people who was here and trying to get as many things that they could. And, you know, there was a couple of people who are living in their car at this moment, and it's devastating for a lot of people, including their houses, their pets, their children. It's just really sad.
Absolutely, and thank you for being so helpful at this time. And there are a lot of people, like you said, they don't know what their next move is. Crystal, I want to ask you, you said that you saw a lot of people come by and drop off a lot of these goods that we're looking at right now. Can you talk with me about that? What was that like as you received items that you'll be giving away soon?
It was heartwarming. I mean, it was weighing heavy on my heart just being home and not doing anything. So I seen someone live, which I believe Jade was watching the same person, and I was like, we need to go out there. I was going to come by myself. My mom came along. But it's just heartwarming seeing everyone come together and bring things, and we're trying to organize. It's a little chaotic right now, but it feels good to actually be a part of something versus just watching it on TikTok and seeing the updates and everything.
Absolutely. The power of social media. Thank you, ladies. We really appreciate it. And of course, there are so many items out here. We're talking about food. We even had a food truck out here earlier, and we know that more evacuees will be trickling on in throughout the morning and picking up whatever it is they can. We'll keep you posted with another live update at 4:45. Reporting live from Pasadena, I'm Lauren Coronado for Today in LA.
All right, Lauren, thank you for that.
Right, we just want to let everyone know that we're getting differing information about an emergency alert. Some people received it on their watches, like I did, on their phones. Other people who are in the same general vicinity did not receive it. So we're trying to get clarity as to what's going on there, especially after what happened yesterday.
Right. It just happened a few minutes ago. You got the alert. I did not get the alert. But, you know, there was an alert sent out to pretty much all of LA County yesterday at about 4:19 yesterday. It was an error. We're making calls on this. As soon as we get information, we'll let you know exactly what is going on.
And as far as we know right now, there's been no major expansion of these fires or evacuation areas. So again, that's why we're going to double check to make sure that we've got our I's dotted and T's crossed.
That's exactly right. All right. It's going to take a while to add up the damage from these wildfires. One estimate says the losses are already around $150 billion. Now, this comes as many Californians have had a really tough time getting and keeping insurance. Yesterday, the state's insurance commissioner announced a plan to protect people in the fire zones. For the next year, insurance companies will not be able to cancel policies in the areas impacted by the Palisades and Eaton fires.
And we want you to check out this video right here. Firefighters have a unique tool in their fight against the Palisades fire, the ocean. This is video taken from reporter Kristen Drummond with our NBC affiliate from Las Vegas. Two super scoopers seen taking water from the ocean by lowering onto the surface using those retractable scoops, and then they're drawing more than 1,000 gallons of water. Now, in the past, we've seen these super scoopers use lakes and reservoirs, but you don't very often see them use the ocean.
All right, it is 4:11 right now. Our coverage of the historic wildfires burning across Southern California, it will continue right after this break.
NBC4's Brittany Hope is standing by in Topanga, where firefighters are fighting the Palisades fire.
Good morning, and this is the only area so far this morning where we've still seen active flame. For the first time coming up after this break, we're going to take you inside the canyon and show you the impact of this fire here.
You can see a single firefighter just desperately trying to put out the fire.
It's really, really smoky, but those firefighters just standing in the middle of it.
They are right up against it with the fire blowing right at them.
These firefighters, man, they're working.
And they have been working for quite some time. 18 hours that these firefighters have been on the line.
These firefighters, they don't quit.
These are the real heroes right here. They are protecting life.
We're doing the best we can.
You're doing more than the best.
With Wells Fargo Premier, a team can help you plan for your dreams. So your dream car and vacation home may be closer than you think. Ready to meet the dream team? You can with Wells Fargo.
Cameras to spot any threats. Our agents review live footage to eliminate the possibility of any false alarms. And with the tap, you can lock all entrances. And unlock them as well. So why don't we finish this up outside, huh?
We're the Law Brothers, and winning car accident cases is what we do. Check out these big wins.
I got hurt in a bad car accident, and the Law Brothers got me $600,000. How about you?
I injured my back in a car accident, and they got me $775,000. How about you?
My leg and back were injured in a car accident, and the Law Brothers got me $1.3 million.
We're the Law Brothers!
Call 1-800-222-2222.
With Wells Fargo Premier, a team can help you plan for your dreams. So your dream car and vacation home may be closer than you think. Ready to meet the dream team? You can with Wells Fargo.
lot of different areas in LA County are getting these emergency alerts on their phones and on their watches, and we're trying to get to the bottom of it because not everyone is receiving that, even though they're in the same general vicinity.
Right. It happened about 3:57 this morning where you got an alert. We were right next to each other. I didn't get it. You did. And if you remember yesterday, about 12 hours ago, we got the same alert all through LA County, really rattling a lot of nerves. And then a few minutes later, we found out that was an error. So we are making calls to find out exactly what's going on, because as we said before, there's been no uptick in winds or fire or activity to, kind of push some kind of an alert like this. So we're going to find out what's going on.
Haven't seen an expansion of any of the evacuation zones as of yet, or any major flare-ups with the fires, and yet again we're hearing it's kind of sporadic. People are hearing it in some LA County communities and not others. Yeah. So yeah, we want to try to get to the bottom of this as quickly as possible, and as soon as we get information and answers about it, we will let you know.
The truth is, we're all on alert right now, which is because what's going on, which makes a lot of sense. But whether or not you need to evacuate, we'll try to find out for you.
All right, 4:15 right now. New this morning, the fire in Pacific Palisades has grown to 20,000 acres, and it's taken out thousands of homes and businesses.
The good news is, over the last few hours, we have seen several water-dropping helicopters overhead. They're trying to stop the fire's progress. NBC4's Brittany Hope is just west of the community in Topanga, where residents have watched the smoke, the flames grow toward them. Brittany, we keep looking up to the sky saying, where are the choppers? Where's the aerial assault?
We heard them this morning, and it was such a welcome sound. First, I want to show you where we are. This is one of the most iconic intersections in Southern California. It's the gateway between the Pacific Palisades and Malibu. This is Pacific Coast Highway and Topanga Canyon, where you can see CHP is blocking the road. Some news here, the 7-Eleven, this gas station right in front of the ocean, still standing right now. But you can see there's fire apparatus, this dozer that's just right in front. We don't have as good news, though, across the way here. This is just really heartbreaking to see what happened on this side of the intersection. So the Malibu feed bin is completely destroyed, and over here is Oasis Imports. This has been here for forever. If you've ever driven PCH and you've driven past Topanga, you know this store for all of the incredible artwork and furniture and structures and statues that it has. It kind of greets you into Topanga. What's still amazing, though, and it's such a welcome sight to see, all of these Buddhas are still standing. Yes, they have a lot of char on them and a lot of charcoal, but they're some of the only things made in stone that are still standing here, along with some fountains. That gave me hope when we pulled up, so I hope that translates for everyone as well. Now, for the first time this morning, we were finally able to get into Topanga Canyon. I know since Tuesday, folks in the canyon have been really hoping for coverage there. I can tell you it's been hard to access because of downed power lines, but I got to my friend's house. We got Wi-Fi there somehow, and we showed them that their home was still standing. Take a look. So this is Mark and Nicole. You guys, first, I'm just so happy that your home is standing. We've been showing you this area back here past all of your oak trees where we've been seeing a lot of water drops this morning. I know that you've been evacuated since Tuesday. What are your neighbors saying?
We've heard of damage at the top of the canyon, so the Saddle Peak and Upper Fernwood area. It's unclear how far down the hill the flames might have moved.
This has just been so scary.
Yeah, I mean, we're just so grateful for all the firefighters.
I know our neighbors have seen them patrolling the area and working really hard on their ring cameras.
It's a tight-knit community up there. Again, so thankful that they're safe, and their neighborhood of Fernwood and Grandview is still standing. We drove through the town of Topanga as well, where the post office is. You have a pizza shop there, thrift store, grocery store. All of that at this point is still standing, but as you saw, there's flames right above it. We're live at the base of Topanga. Brittany Hope for Today in LA.
Brittany, tell me how you feel about the air quality there. I know you're not using your mask right now. The winds have died down, but do you feel, can you smell it still? Is there trouble breathing? So many people are concerned about that.
Well, it's so funny. I'm wearing my glasses today because my eyes, just from the past few days, I usually wear contacts. So I think there's just a lot of kind of smoke and stuff in my eyes, even though I've been wearing goggles. So I'm feeling it in my eyes a lot this morning. As for the smoke, I mean, It's just so bizarre. You would think it's a normal beach day with the sound of waves. You can definitely smell smoke, but it's certainly not what we were seeing yesterday. It's not what we were seeing Wednesday or Tuesday. And I think that's just the way that the winds are blowing right now. They're kind of pushing a lot of it over the canyon, but it's definitely better today.
All right, Brittany, thank you very much for that. We want to check in with meteorologist Belen right now, who is tracking the weather conditions right now, because we've got another day of dangerous conditions ahead of ourselves, and very powerful gusts still to be experienced today.
Exactly, especially during the morning. So yesterday morning around this time, I was telling you about a lull and how things were quiet. This morning, things are active. Over the past 24 hours, those winds have picked up, typical Santa Ana winds. And here's a look at some of the reports. In Arrowhead Springs, up to 90 miles per hour. Magic Mountain Truck Trail, a gust up to 81. 71 miles per hour in Running Springs, Rancho Cucamonga 63, and in Simi Valley 59. Now, how is this affecting the fire zone? Let me show you what's happening and take a closer look right now where the Palisades fire is burning. The humidity still low, for example, in Topanga Beach, but the winds are calm just above in the mountains, Santa Monica Mountains, gusts up to 40 miles per hour. That has not changed. Really, that reporting station has been pretty strong compared to what we have at the coastal locations. Malibu Creek right now gusts up to 30 miles per hour. And this time around, the winds that we have impacting us this morning are mostly affecting those Santa Ana wind-prone locations. The strong winds that we had Tuesday evening into Wednesday affected locations that don't usually see the winds. That's the reason why we were able to see, unfortunately, the strong winds blow through Altadena. And right now, calm wind conditions there. Humidity low, about 20%, but we're thankful for some calm conditions. Now, we do still have some wind warnings in effect. I showed you the red flag warning that covers most of Southern California, and we have high wind warnings and wind advisories in effect for Orange County, the Inland Empire, the valleys, the mountains, all the way out towards Ventura County. This in place until this afternoon. So still the potential of seeing those really strong gusts that, of course, are increasing fire danger, but could also cause some downed trees and also some power outages and hazardous travel conditions. Now look at the outlook for today. We have elevated fire conditions for most of the mountains, the San Fernando Valley and the Inland Empire. What this means is that ignition of fires is likely, and also fire spread is possible. We have critical fire conditions over the San Jacinto Mountains into the San Diego Mountains. So here's what you can expect. We're going to have these gusty winds during the morning. The winds weaken around the middle of the day, calmer winds by the afternoon, and unfortunately, we're still going to be dealing with unhealthy air quality. In fact, that smoke advisory is still in effect through tonight over our area. It's interesting because even if you're not close to where those fires are currently burning, you're still affected by the air quality, and that ash is being carried over far distances. I know I live in Studio City, and on my car yesterday, I had ash on there. Now, here's a look at how the winds are going to subside as we go throughout the day. Here's the middle of the day. As we go through this evening, a respite. Now, for tomorrow morning, winds are gusty for our friends over in the deserts, but if you live in those Santa Ana wind-prone spots, don't let your guard down, because as we head into the weekend, we're still going to see some gusty winds in those places and very low relative humidity. In fact, we're going to get another round of wind Sunday into next week, and in fact, next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we could see another powerful surge of winds. I'll be back to talk about that in the next half hour. Right now, here's traffic with Robin.
Thank you, Belen. Earlier, we talked about the closures related to the Palisades fire. This time around, we're going to check in on the Eden fire and talk about the areas to avoid. For those of you traveling north of the 210, maybe through Pasadena or Altadena, keep in mind that the Angeles Crest Highway is closed. They have it blocked off from the entrance all the way up to Upper Big Tujunga Road, in addition to an off-ramp here on the 210. The 210 is open, but it's the Arroyo Boulevard off-ramp for the east and westbound side that will remain closed until further notice, as well as travel north of Azusa. This is only open to local residents. You have to have permission to be traveling along San Gabriel Canyon Road. That is closed to regular traffic. And we're not going to see the same volume of traffic today. So many schools are closed. Folks are staying home for safety reasons, the air quality, the fire. So we're expecting to see a lighter volume of traffic. If anything major pops up, I'll definitely let you know. But once again, we just want to reiterate the areas that you should avoid driving through. Once again, PCH shut down, both sides, southbound at Malibu Canyon, northbound at the McClure Tunnel. And then we have Metro offering free service today for trains and buses. We'll go over that coming up in a little bit. Adrian, Lynette, back to you.
Robin, thank you. 424 right now. Well, you may have received an evacuation alert on your phone or watch within the past few minutes. I did. You did not, right? We're making calls to figure out if this was legitimate or an error. We did see an error yesterday, so we've got calls into the Office of Emergency Management, and we will give you updates as soon as we get them.
And if you would like to help wildfire relief efforts, NBC4 is partnering with the American Red Cross to help those affected. You can go to NBCLA.com, or you can call that number right there on your screen. Our coverage continues right after this break. We'll be right back.
GIA Diamonds, lowest prices ever. The Jewelry Exchange has natural 1-carat GIAs just $19.90. Custom mounts are just $4.99. Carat 50, $29.90. 2-carat, $59.90. Thousands of diamonds guaranteed the lowest price. The Jewelry Exchange, Tustin.
It's Empire Today's biggest sale, the 50-50-50 sale. 50% off carpet and flooring, 50% off padding and materials, and 50% off installation.
800-588-2300 Empire.
Today.
It's your moment. The views, the people. That's a recipe for a loving moment. Right now, it's the only moment. The seafood, the wine, the steak and lobster. Cielo at Morongo Casino Resort and Spa. Good times.
The annual clearance event is going on now at Mathis Home with doorbuster prices in every department. Shop hundreds of sofas in all the latest styles and get huge discounts. Get closeout prices on bedroom and dining furniture, or choose from a huge assortment of recliners from all the top brands. Plus, they're all in stock, so you can take it home today with our fast and easy financing. Come save at the annual clearance event at your furniture superstore, Mathis Home.
My baby girl is home.
A family reunion.
You're sweet and sensitive, and she likes to shoot things.
With Southern hospitality.
Why would you take her on in paintball?
We were on the same team.
Happy's Place, tonight on NBC and Peacock.
You look like Mexican Colombo. You've been served.
Tonight.
You're suing him for cheating on you?
Rosie's hungry for justice.
I'm going to eat you for lunch.
I thought that we would get Chipotle.
Lopez versus Lopez, tonight on NBC and Peacock.
Nearly 10 million people received an incorrect fire evacuation warning alert yesterday afternoon.
That was only meant for people affected by the Kenneth fire in West Hills. The director of LA's Emergency Management Department apologized and told NBC4 that the correct zones for the evacuation warning were initiated, but the notification was accidentally sent to the entire county because of a system error. The agency then issued that correction a few minutes later.
So just before 4 o'clock this morning, some of you might have received another alert about evacuation warnings. Adrian had to go off on his watch. The rest of us here in the studio did not have that happen. We are hearing from people in Long Beach and Glendale. They also got that warning. We are making calls to try to figure out if this was an error as well. But right now, there are no new evacuation warnings that we are aware of.
Well, coming up, standing guard and protecting the vulnerable.
Our coverage of the wildfire emergency continues with the California National Guard now deployed in fire-ravaged communities.
Good morning, guys. You go into Altadena, you go into the Palisades, you're going to see these big trucks coming through your neighborhoods. The Cal Guard is on scene. They are helping law enforcement and firefighters. We'll explain what their mission is coming up.
With Fargo, your virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, you can access your FICO score in a snap.
I mean, what I would give to be able to make art on this scale.
You will one day, but it's equally important for you to be thinking about your future, building credit.
Dad. Fargo, what's my FICO score?
Wow, it's a work of art.
Do you, Fargo?
That was corny, but I'll take it.
You can. Visit wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Trust the insurance company? Call us. We're the Law Brothers. These big companies have big insurance policies, but they'll do everything they can to pay you as little as possible. My brother and I will fight them to get you the big money that you deserve. Call us. We're the Law Brothers.
Hurt by a big truck? Call 1-800-222-2222 or visit lawbrothers.com.
It's At Home in the Valley, a warehouse full of rugs. Too many rugs, way too many rugs. It's time for a sale. Save on thousands of rugs in stock. Take one home today. Modern, traditional, shag, solids, and textures, all at low, low prices. Roll runners for stairs and hallways, any length you need. Since 1979, At Home in the Valley, 16531 Satakoy Street, Van Nuys, 818-780-4663, online at athomeinthevalley.com.
These hands create. All of the materials I work with dry out my hands. If my hands get really dry, I can't do my job. I depend on O'Keeffe's.
It's America's #1 selling hand cream for guaranteed relief.
If it works for these hands, it'll work for yours.
Also available in O'Keeffe's for healthy feet.
What happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable raccoon? Attack. Bark! Attack! It's not easy taking out the trash. That's why you need strength that's anything but ordinary.
Hefty, hefty, hefty.
This is Today in LA at 4:30 with breaking news.
Good morning to you. It is Friday, January 10th. We are continuing our live coverage of the unprecedented fires burning across Southern California. This is a live picture from the Rose Bowl where evacuees are getting help and finding hope. We're so glad you're with us this morning. I'm Lynette Romero.
And I'm Adrian Arambulo, and there's so much to get to today. We have thousands of families now faced with the most difficult and challenging reality of having to start completely over while firefighters continue to fight two major fires, and we're all hoping that the worst is over. The Palisades fire has burned nearly 20,000 acres along our coast. Firefighters are making progress. It is now 6% contained. The other big fire about 35 miles away, the Eaton fire, started in Altadena, burned more than 13,000 acres. There is zero containment.
Between both fires, there are 10 fire-related deaths. There is block after block of utter devastation. Firefighters estimate more than 10,000 homes, businesses, and other structures have been destroyed or badly damaged. Many schools across LA County are closed again today, including the entire LA Unified School District.
We have learned the name of one of the victims who was killed in the Eaton fire. Family confirms to NBC4 that 82-year-old Rodney Nickerson was killed while he was asleep in his home early Wednesday morning. Rodney worked at Lockheed Martin and lived at his Altadena home since 1968. His daughter tells us that he was the only person in the home at the time.
The Kenneth fire in LA and Ventura counties is now considered 35% contained, but it has burned 960 acres. It started yesterday afternoon north of the 101 freeway near Valley Circle Boulevard. Evacuation warnings are in place for the surrounding area.
Well, meanwhile, the Palisades fire, we're hearing at least two schools, Palisades Charter Elementary and Marquez Elementary School, have been completely destroyed. Meanwhile, Palisades Charter High School was about 30% destroyed. The district is looking for funding relief to help rebuild the schools impacted by the fires.
At least 8 schools have been damaged or completely destroyed by several fires burning in LA County. In the Pasadena Unified School District, at least 5 schools in Altadena were damaged in the Eaton fire. Now, Elliott Arts Magnet School, Avison Charter School, Loma Alta Elementary School, and Noyes Elementary School were also damaged. Franklin Elementary, which closed in 2020, was about 80% damaged. Officials warn other schools within the Pasadena Unified School District could be further damaged. Of course, there's a lot of smoke damage as well. All district schools do remain closed.
LA Unified will offer free meals for its students once again this morning from 8 to 11 a.m. Families can visit 16 sites to pick up 2 meals per student. This is only available for LA Unified students. Now, some of the locations include Hollenbeck Middle School, Southgate High School, Los Angeles Academy Middle School, and John H. Leidy Middle School.
All right, 4:33 right now. Let's send things over to meteorologist Belen de Leon. I was looking at your map with those wind gusts, and we're starting to see them creep up, aren't we?
Yep. We had another round move in overnight, and this morning is when we're going to get the peak of it. After about the middle of the day, we'll slowly start to see winds increase. This is more of a typical Santa Ana wind event. Buenos dias, everyone. Here's what I've got for you on this Friday morning. Gusty right now through the Inland Empire, and the winds this time around have more of an easterly component. So even our friends in Anaheim are feeling those gusts right now up to 24 miles per hour. Windy through the San Fernando Valley, through the Newhall Pass, the I-5 corridor, and over the LA and Ventura County mountains. This This is going to be day 4 of a red flag warning in effect for most of Southern California. We won't see these red flag conditions let up until we get into the afternoon, and then slowly humidity starts to increase. We've got dry conditions, windy weather this morning, and those winds are still fanning the flames and that smoke from the fires into other locations. So we're still going to deal with very challenging air quality today. Not only that, even if you're a distance from where the fires are burning, we're seeing ash being transmitted and transported as well. I know I found some of it on my car yesterday morning. You could be experiencing the same. So when you leave the house, make sure you bring a mask with you. Other than that, look at the current conditions. It's a cold morning up in the deserts. We've got 20s in Big Bear, 50s, 40s everywhere else. So a chilly morning. And here's what I've got for you this afternoon. Just a lot of smoke and still some residual wind. As we get into the afternoon, we'll see conditions improve. We'll have 60s and 70s. But I'm taking a look at the weather through the weekend and even through next week. No rain in sight, just more wind. I'll be back to time it out. Right now, we're checking on the drive and the commute. Here's Robin.
Yes, good morning. And as a reminder, the traffic lights are still out in some areas. Some neighborhoods are still dealing with power outages. I crossed a few intersections where the lights were dark or they were flashing. And remember, if you encounter that situation, you should treat it as a four-way stop, as if you have a stop sign on both sides of the road. I saw so many people just blow through intersections that were completely dark, and you know that can definitely cause an accident. So be on the lookout and be extra cautious. Now, if you're hopping on Metro today, do expect delays and detours on a number of the routes related to the weather. They're still having issues with repairs and debris removal, all related to this wind event, especially for the A line. So if you're using the Metro A line traveling towards Southwest Museum, Highland Park, South Pasadena, and Fillmore, those lines will be replaced by free shuttles. So it's out of service right now. Shuttles are running in place to get you to and from this stretch, and the shuttles are free. In fact, all buses and rail trains are free today from Metro. They've suspended the fares throughout the entire system, so you don't have to worry about paying. We will check in on more closures. We'll keep you posted. Check with us before you leave the house. We are getting updates. Some lanes and off-ramps are opening, and then we have more closures coming up, so we'll definitely keep you posted. Lynette, Adrian, back to you.
All right, Robin, thank you for that. The National Guard has arrived and is now in place at several fire evacuation zones.
Now, this is happening after an increase in reports of looting. So far, 20 people have been arrested. And NBC4's John Kenny's Klimek is live in Altadena, one of several areas where the Guardsmen are stationed. John, I know that elected officials, residents, just people all around the country were disgusted to hear that some people are trying to take advantage of the most vulnerable right now.
Yeah, so you've got those 20 people that they've arrested, and in order to make sure that the Sheriff's Department, they're really the ones that are looking into this, and LAPD, to make sure that they can do their job to do all that investigative aspect of that, they've got the National Guard that is here. Now, what they've done is station themselves at these checkpoints. So now that we've got this curfew in place, this 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew, when no one's allowed to get in or out of this, or I should say no one's allowed to get into the area, it's the National Guard that you're going to come to face first at just about every street up and down Woodbury Drive here in Altadena that we've noticed. I want to share with you, though, News Chopper 4 was overhead as the National Guard first rolled in, driving in from Glendale is where they first stationed to kind of gather themselves, and then made their way over here. Was later in the afternoon yesterday when the Cal Guard showed up here in Southern California as part of what the governor has said he wants to help, not just give a little bit of relief to law enforcement and to firefighters on the ground, but to assist as well. There are about 600 Cal Guardsmen that are here in the Southern California area. It's for the fire here in Altadena, as well as the one in the Palisades area. Again, they are here to add support to those that are on the ground. Now more than 8,000 personnel that are on the ground when you include the California National Guard that is here as well. So 600 of them that are going to be here. And the point is to make sure that those who are not supposed to be in the evacuated areas remain out of the evacuated areas. We spoke to some people here in Altadena already who said this is a welcome sight.
Right now, we could use any assistance we could take because this was devastating. It's a real disaster. I know, like Katrina and all that was serious, but this is probably the closest that we're going to get the experience to something like that.
And when you look at how much has been destroyed in these fires, and you consider the fact that there are people who are trying to take advantage of now the most vulnerable, the victims of this fire, to get into these places where perhaps there might be a house standing and they're trying to break in and take things. There have been people arrested. As you guys mentioned, 20 people so far that have been arrested on looting charges through all of this and taking advantage of these people in this worst time of their lives. That is why the presence of the National Guard makes a big difference. Back live here where we are, we're at Lake and Woodbury Road here in Altadena. We've even noticed as the morning's been progressing, we've seen a lot of these vehicles make their way through here. So you will notice a very different area if you make your way up into Altadena this morning. Reporting live in Altadena, I'm John Caddy-Sclema. Guys, I'll send it back to you.
You know, John, I have to ask you, a lot of times it's a little bit unnerving to see that happen, right? When you see this happening in your neighborhood, because we're not used to that. But they're here to help us. I feel like it's important to kind of remind our kids who might be a little, worried about that. They're here to help. Their support.
That's true. You see somebody dressed the way they are in this military gear, perhaps having their guns on their sides, but they are here for that support. And you're going to actually hear from one of the guardsmen that we talked to coming up in just a little bit, who talks about why they're here and his personal feeling about being here to help the community. That is the important part of this, to just be here to help.
Exactly.
We look forward to that interview, John. Thank you very much. We'll see you shortly. 4:40 right now. A Super Scooper is now out of service for repair after it was hit by a drone over the Palisades fire. The LAFD says it was not assigned to fighting the Palisades fire yesterday afternoon when it was hit, but it did have to land because of wing damage. Now, you can see it in this photo shared by fire officials. There's that dent. It is a federal crime to interfere with firefighting efforts on public lands. The person responsible could face up to 12 months in prison and a fine from the FAA. Well, coming up, lingering impacts of the wildfire emergency, what you need to know about boiling water before using it.
Plus, the city of Pasadena now clarifying who's being impacted by a water alert from the Eaton fire. We'll be right back.
Escape to a vacation at Circus Circus. Experience the thrill of the Adventure Dome. 5 acres with more than 25 rides to keep you on the edge of your seat. Ride our newest attractions, Nebula Z, Twist and Teacups, Circus Swings, and Little Sprinter Raceway. More rides, more excitement, an experience for the entire family. Life's a circus. Let's play!
Save up to 80% at the Jewelry Exchange. Quarter carat studs $69, Huggies $149, tennis bracelets $5.99 per carat. 2 carat 3-stone rings or studs $19.90. Guaranteed to appraise for double factory direct. The Jewelry Exchange, Tustin.
And as you can see, we've installed high-def cameras to spot any threats. Our agents review live footage to eliminate the possibility of any false alarms. He's very good.
At Jerome's, we know that a great night's sleep makes all the difference.
That's why we offer the unmatched body-conforming support of Tempur-Pedic, helping you get deeper, more refreshing sleep. Also, experience Heirloom's luxury craftsmanship or discover Smart Life's adaptive technology for personalized comfort.
Or make sleep more affordable with no interest financing from 12 to 60 months.
Visit Jerome's today.
A better night's sleep starts here.
Jerome's.
Your game, your place, your time to play. It's fun, it's exciting, and you're winning and winning and winning. Your moment is now at Morongo Casino Resort and Spa. Morongo, good times, great moments.
4:42 right now. We've heard stories of people trying to stay behind and fight the fires on their own.
And that includes a man we met in Malibu during the Franklin fire. But he says the Palisades fire was very different. Alec Gillis says he successfully defended his home just last month, and he tried to do the same thing for his girlfriend's cottage in Pacific Palisades. But you can see in this video that he shared with us just how intense the conditions were.
It was just like, couldn't breathe, no oxygen. I don't know if I stayed any longer. I don't know if I would have even made it to my car.
It was like a swarm of hornets that were all on fire, like so much embers, vortex of embers.
A vortex of embers. It's so scary. So this is what it looked like once Alec finally decided to leave and his girlfriend lost her home.
City of Pasadena updated its water alert and clarified who this is impacting. So take a look at this map right here. Anyone who lives in the areas that are shaded gray are being told not to use tap water for drinking or cooking until further notice. So we're going to leave this map up for just a second so you can take a closer look. The Eden fire caused damage to several city reservoirs and pump stations, which may have impacted the water quality for that region. The city will continue to conduct tests and let everyone know when the water is safe once again to use. There continues to be a boil water advisory because of the Palisades fire. So people living in the 90272 zip code and adjacent communities north of San Vicente Boulevard are being told to boil tap water for drinking and cooking. Now, there is a significant low water pressure that reduces water quality that can pose a health risk there.
Right, it is 4:44 right now. Coming up next, a glimmer of hope as the Eden fire continues to burn in Altadena.
NBC4's Lauren Coronado live in Pasadena, where evacuees are finding help from complete strangers.
Lynette, Adrian, we know there is a great need for help, too. I want to show you all of these items that are available to evacuees. They've already been coming by overnight, picking up whatever items they can. There are a lot of volunteers out here, including a celebrity volunteer. We'll introduce you coming up right after the break.
Struggling with moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis? Talk to your doctor about #1 prescribed Entyvio, offering 2 maintenance options, including the Entyvio pen. Infusion and serious allergic reactions can happen during or after treatment. Entyvio may increase risk of infection, which can be serious. PML, a rare, potentially fatal brain infection, cannot be ruled out. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, sores, or are prone to infections. Liver problems can occur. Entyvio, relief, remission for real.
Entyvio, Entyvio, Entyvio.
It's At Home in the Valley, a warehouse full of rugs. Too many rugs, way too many rugs. It's time for a sale. Save on thousands of rugs in stock. Take one home today. Modern, traditional, shag, solids, and textures, all at low, low prices. Roll runners for stairs and hallways, any length you need. Since 1979, At Home in the Valley, 16531 Satakoy Street, Van Nuys, 818-780-4663. Online at athomeinthevalley.com.
We're the Morgan Boys. I'm Matt. I'm Mike. And I'm Dan. We became injury attorneys just like our parents. Our family has been fighting for families like yours for over 35 years. So if you're injured, call Morgan & Morgan. For the people. For the families.
We are Seller's Advantage.
And we want to buy your house.
Seller's Advantage has revolutionized the home selling process to get you more for your home.
With no agent fees, no hassles, and no repairs, selling your house doesn't have to be overwhelming.
Call now or visit sellersadvantage.com.
Give your home a fresh look for the new year at the Living Spaces Winter Event, where you can save big and get free shipping as soon as next day on in-stock collections. Unwind in style on sofas starting at $350, entertain with dining sets starting at $250, and rest easy on beds starting at $195. Plus, get special financing for 60 months on any purchase with your good credit. Don't miss the Winter Event, only at Living Spaces.
Living Spaces.
We have been on the air nonstop tracking this wildfire emergency.
Neighbors coming together, trying to keep their home from catching fire.
Our community giving each other moral support, anything that we can just to help. We have a city bus that is going to help evacuate some of these patients.
Your neighbors seem to be the ones that really have helped you out.
Absolutely, yes, I'm very grateful.
Is there anything we can do to help you, sir?
Our photographer even got a water hose.
Yeah, I saw him. Thank you. Thank you. I'll make sure you get them.
We are committed to bringing you the very latest.
4:47 right now. Now, some of you might have received another alert on evacuation warnings. It was sent out just before 4 o'clock this morning. We are hearing people from Long Beach to Glendale who got it. We are making calls right now to figure out if this was an error. But right now, we do want to tell you that there are no new evacuation warnings that we are aware of.
And that's what's so unusual about it. It's spotty. So you said Long Beach, Glendale, Pacoima, Panorama City, but then there's these spots and patches in between. Yeah, and then I'm 10 feet away from folks who didn't get it.
Right.
And we're all in the same area. So we're trying to make sense of what's happening here. It comes after nearly 10 million people received an incorrect alert yesterday afternoon. The director of LA's Emergency Management Department apologized for that, clarifying that that was only meant for people impacted by the fire near West Hills.
All right, more than 100,000 people have been evacuated in LA County because of the wildfires here in Southern California.
And now there's a massive outpouring of support from the community to help anyone who's been impacted. NBC4's Lauren Coronado live in Pasadena near the Rose Bowl with a look at this grassroots effort. And Lauren, I heard from a mother overnight. She's got a 3-month-old baby, and she was almost brought to tears by the help that she's getting, because she's saying that they're having to sleep in their car, and she just needed a blanket.
Yeah.
Lynette, Adrian, good morning. It's stories like that that just break your heart, but then you see the way the community is responding to the need, and it's incredible. You have a baby, there are plenty of diapers, formula that I'm looking at right now. Are you hungry? There's plenty of food here. In fact, a surplus. If we take a look at all of the food, we're talking piles of food. There was a food truck serving hot food as well. Water, you name it, a blanket. There are plenty here, and I want to bring in Westby, one of the organizers. I know that a lot of you guys have been working to make all of this possible for the evacuees. By the way, if you're not awake already, Westby will wake you up.
I don't know. Why are you still sleeping right now? You should be awake. You should be helping people. What are you doing, FEMA? I'm just playing.
Well, you guys are certainly holding down the fort here in Pasadena. Talk with me about what we can expect over the next few hours as more evacuees, who are actually some sleeping in the parking lot right now as they wake up and they come by for more goods.
I don't even know what to expect for the next couple hours. Like, everything that you see over here came before we went live. Everything you see over there came after we went live. So I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. Like, we might wake up and this whole parking lot might be full.
Yeah, and it just shows you how many people want to help. Thank you, SB. We appreciate it, including the game. We talked with the game who came by. He was actually with firefighters right across the street at the command post. I want you to hear what he had to say about feeling so compelled. Keep in mind, he is from Compton, born and raised out here. Here's what he had to say.
Never in my life, and I've been here, like I said, born and raised here, never in my life have I seen anything like this. I think the last thing that I seen of this magnitude was the Northridge quake when I was a kid, but this one brings tears to your eyes. Just love each other, man. LA, we need each other.
Yeah, absolutely, and LA is coming together strong. Of course, we'll keep you posted here from the Rose Bowl throughout the morning. Reporting live, I'm Lauren Coronado for Today in LA.
Really is so good to see. Thank you so much for that, Lauren.
All right, let's check in with meteorologist Belen de Leon right now, because we are seeing some powerful gusts right now. We got another day that we got to be concerned about these fires flaring up and expanding.
That's right. Unfortunately, we're not done with that danger, and there's already been a lot of damage. It's wonderful to see so many people open their hearts and try and show up for our community, because we really need it. You know, CAL FIRE has already deemed the Pacific Palisades fire the most destructive fire in Los Angeles, at 5,300 structures lost. Well, that could also make the list for top California most destructive fires, and here's a list of them. The Camp Fire is at the top. That was in November of 2018, when 18,000 structures were lost. The Tubbs Fire in 2017, we lost 5,600 structures then. So we're expecting, unfortunately, for the Palisades fire to make this list, and that number could grow as damage assessments continue. Again, that's according to CAL FIRE. How did we get here? Of course, those strong destructive winds, but also it's been a very dry start to the water year across Southern California. Little to no rainfall has come our way since October the 1st, when the water year started. And for a few cities, it's already been the driest start for them on record, like Riverside and Anaheim, and unfortunately no significant rain is in the forecast. We have some strong winds this morning. We had another round move in yesterday, and it's continuing until this morning. I want to show you when these winds are going to drop off. We take a look at the wind map, and you'll notice it's the first half of the day when this wind map is activated. Around lunchtime, those winds are going to start to back off. In fact, from now through about the middle of the day, the winds will gradually diminish, and as we get into the afternoon, we're looking at much better conditions around 5 p.m. So better travel conditions as we head into the afternoon. That red flag warning is in place until 6 p.m. and we have high wind warnings in effect until that time as well. So until that time, travel could be a bit challenging, but as we head into the afternoon, we'll have better commuting conditions. Here we are tomorrow morning. We have a break Still a bit breezy through the I-5 corridor out towards the Grapevine and also the deserts. And then watch what happens Saturday afternoon. We're going to have a few gusty spots as we get into Sunday. Those winds are expected to activate once again. So the windy weather, unfortunately, is going to stick around. A break on Saturday, then strong winds on Sunday, and a heads up next week, Monday through Wednesday. We could see the return of those potentially damaging winds. Remember that setup where we had that storm really close to us? That's the reason why we had these really strong winds. That's moving away from us. We'll have a typical Santa Ana wind event on Sunday, but then we're going to have a similar weather pattern to what we had earlier this week that could potentially bring damaging winds once again for early next week. So the First Alert Weather Team will keep an eye on that for you. Right now, let's get another check of the drive. Hi, Robin.
Hi, Belen. Good morning. We want to talk about mass transit because things are going to be a little different for those of you hopping on Metro today for the bus lines and the rail line. I want to mention that lines 180 and 217 will be detoured. So if you're traveling anywhere between Los Feliz, San Fernando, Vermont, and Prospect Avenue, they are detouring all of those bus lines because of downed power lines. But in addition to that, if you are using buses and rail service today, it's going to be free because of all the wildfire activity. So please keep that in mind. That is an option for you if you don't want to drive. Also, because of fire activity, we have lines 134 and 602 completely canceled. So you're going to have to find an alternate source of transportation. Once again, bus line 134, 602 canceled today. Please plan ahead, but service will be free for all the other lines moving today. It's going to be different for the A line. If you're hopping on this morning, keep in mind if you're traveling anywhere toward the Southwest Museum area, Highland Park, South Pasadena, and Fillmore, those lines have been canceled and replaced by shuttles. The shuttles are free, but you need to pay close attention to any announcements being made, and you need to get out there as early as possible because you will experience delays because of these reroutes. They are working on repairs and removing debris from the tracks. So we just want to give you a heads up if you're hopping on mass transit. If any major traffic problems pop up, I'll definitely pass it along, but it's going to be pretty light and quiet on the roads today with so many folks staying home and schools closed. Adrian, back to you.
All right, Robin, thank you. And if you'd like to help wildfire relief efforts, NBC4 is partnering with the American Red Cross to help people affected by these fires. You can go to NBCLA.com or you can call the number on your screen. Our coverage of these wildfires, this emergency, continues after the break. We'll be right back. It's 4:55.
Escape to a vacation at Circus Circus. Experience the thrill of the Adventure Dome. 5 acres with more than 25 rides to keep you on the edge of your seat. Ride our newest attractions, Nebula Z, Twists and Teacups, Circus Swings, and Little Sprinter Raceway. More rides, more excitement, an experience for the entire family. Life's a circus. Let's play!
I've got this dream, and you're all in it.
Let's hear it.
With Wells Fargo Premier, a team can help you plan for your dream.
I have this vacation home.
That's like a getaway.
Yeah, but it's also an eco-friendly artist retreat.
So, you're expanding your business?
And our family. Can you help me plan for that?
Yeah, let's get started.
Ready to meet the dream team? You can with Wells Fargo.
And that's when you call us. We're the Law Brothers.
Call 1-800-222-2222.
It's Empire Today's biggest sale, the 50-50-50 sale. 50% off carpet and flooring, 50% off padding and materials, and 50% off installation. That's right, half off your entire project. You can save thousands. Empire's 50-50-50 sale won't last long. Don't miss 50% off carpet and flooring, 50% off padding and materials, and 50% off installation.
800-588-2300 Empire.
Today. The Jewelry Exchange, the source for lab-grown. 2-carat studs, $9.90. 2-carat solitaires, $12.90. 3-carat, $24.90. 10-carat tennis bracelets, $39.90. Thousands to choose from, always the lowest price. The Jewelry Exchange, Tustin.
Tacos all call, fried rice for me.
It's your moment. Taste it. All of it.
So how are your chicken and waffles? Just as great as your prime rib.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that. a lot of everything. Your moment is now.
Starting with dessert.
At the Marketplace. Morongo Casino Resort and Spa. Good time. Great food.
The art collection at the Getty Villa is safe. The museum posted this picture on X. In a previous post, the Getty said some trees on the property had been burned, but the art collection and the main building is okay.
Archbishop Jose Gomez yesterday held special masses for anyone impacted or affected by the fires. And tonight, there will be another service at Incarnation Church in Glendale. That'll begin at 5:30 p.m. and will also be live streamed at lacatholics.org.
This is Today in LA at 5 with breaking news.
I did 30 years Army Special Operations. I'm used to this overseas. I've seen what the world has to offer in its worst case, but my neighbors are not ready for this. My family's not ready for this.
You guys all came together through the power of social media.
All of our TikTok viewers, they send us donations through Cash App, Zelle, Venmo. We have heard so many stories. As soon as we give the families a water or a hot dog, they shed in tears because a lot of people, you know, they lost their homes.
Los Angeles has true grit. It has resilience. And it will rebuild, and it will rebuild better than ever.
Well, good morning, and thank you for staying with us on Today in LA as we continue to cover Southern California's wildfire emergency. I'm Adrian Arambulo.
And I'm Lynette Romero. We want to get you up to speed about exactly what's happening right now. There are currently 6 fires burning in LA County. Now, this is a map showing where each of those fires is located. The Eaton and Palisades fires started on Tuesday, prompting a state of emergency. They are the most destructive fires LA County has ever seen.
The Palisades fire has burned nearly